Our good friend Jen Bowman's here. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Always good to see you.
Nice.
Although, I must admit, let me move this over so we can hear you better. The emails now, when I get them from you, there's a certain mark of desperation in them. Rather than, hey, how's it going? Can I come on by? I mean, your email yesterday, there was no pleasantries to begin with. We got a problem. Can I come in tomorrow? And of course, there are certain people that I have.
Still do the pleasantries with, Riley.
Sure. And there are certain people that I have on my list who, when they say, may I come in, it's always a yes whenever they want to come in. And fill us in on the difficulties.
We are just struggling, and this is not something that is just local. It is national. There is nowhere for us to go purchase it from outside of the market if we need to. Cold and flu season is affecting us because you're supposed to feel well and healthy to donate.
Right.
This weather doesn't help anyone. I mean, after a work day, what do you want to do? You want to go home and hunker down.
Yeah, and get out of the cold and get out of the wet.
People are just getting back into their schedules. It's just a combination.
Storm,
yes, and usage is normal. We do have an uptick in like specialty products like platelets and things like that because of all the cancer treatments that can be done locally and things that we get to do here now that a lot of times used to be done outside of Rockford. So it's just the perfect storm. But typically when we get freaked out like this, we can import blood. It's, at a higher cost, and it's not the best way to do business, but we can get the products in, but nobody has them.
Because this is not intrinsic just to Rockford.
No,
as you mentioned, this is coast to coast?
Coast to coast, national blood shortage. And, there are certain things in play. The demographics change. The average blood donor is getting older. Younger people, while they are as altruistic as anyone else, what they see as important is going to be things that they've actually seen happen. And a lot of young people haven't been part of that 1 in 3 people that will need a blood transfusion.
Right.
Or they're cruising around on cruise ships.
Yeah, that's how mine got out from under the needle.
Yes, and they're going back to college, they're working, and it's harder for us to find them.
And still to this day, and Joe and I talked about this earlier, as much as you guys have endeavored to put the word out, and as much as people who've gone and given blood have talked about it, there's still that little bit of, it's kind of scary, and I don't like needles, and it's blood, and not realizing for a second, first off, the needles in use today are not like the needles that were even used seemingly 10 years ago.
No.
But definitely not when we were young.
They're made to get in and out.
In and out with a minimum of discomfort. The people who do it, their dexterity is amazing, and they make it comfortable, and they treat you so well, and it doesn't take much time. And then you get snacks and stuff to drink, and it's really a pleasant experience, not an unpleasant one.
Yeah, and I mean, that's our main goal is for the donor to have a great experience. And we realize there's a little bit of a pinch involved in there. And yeah, I mean, blood donors are still a very small group of people. Less than 5% of those that are eligible to donate do so. So
less than 5%. Okay. And you get people who think that they're disqualified when they're not.
Yes.
You get a lot of that, too.
Yes.
Oh, well, I went to Mexico a couple years ago. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, or they were on a drug in the 80s that, the rules have changed. The FDA changes things a lot, but they'll occasionally have prescription medications that defer you from donating for really no real valid reason, and then that will be lifted. For instance, meloxicam, which is a pretty common NSAID that's used for pain, that was a deferral until recently, and then they realized really that doesn't impact the donor's ability to be a good donor. So,
whereas a lot of people heard the, no, you can't, then they don't hear the, oh, wait a minute, yeah, you can, that comes later on when those rules are revised or lifted and all that, and then that kind of just sticks in their head.
Yeah, and I mean, I like to remind people, it's good for you. It's a human oil change. It gets things moving. Also, you probably no one goes to the doctor as much as they should. You're going to get your pulse, your temperature, your hemoglobin, get a little mini physical. Getting the red cells out makes your body create more, so you get fresher, your oxygen's moving faster, everything's moving around the body better. It's good for you.
It can be an early warning.
Unfortunately, yes, that does happen.
Well, my son, when he went through in high school at one point, we got a call really quickly thereafter, said, we got a liver thing. There's a liver thing that's a little off here, which prompted a freak out by us and into the doctor. And it turned out, it was an enzyme.
Yeah.
Nothing serious, but we did not know anything about it, and it was treatable and all was good. But had we not gone in, or had he not gone in, we wouldn't have known that.
Right. And, unfortunately, we find cancers in people or things that indicate that there's something else is wrong. We don't like to do that, but I mean, that is one of the side benefits. And for us to know that we're going to maybe tip someone off so they can
save
start
someone's life,
treating their leukemia or something, that's a way. I mean, some people do find things out that way, but it's not hard. When we say it takes about an hour, there's not a needle involved for an hour. I know even I am like, a needle for an hour?
For a whole hour, yeah.
The needle's in and out in 10 minutes. The hour is us asking you all the questions and the mini physical, and it also includes juice and cookie time afterwards.
Yeah, cool down time. It's, you know, what my daughter and I look at it as, it's a time to just, you know, make sure that you're not a little lightheaded and all that, and then you're on your way.
Yeah,
and
have a
plus you guys
snack.
have great snacks.
And then, you know, there's usually other donors who are great people. It's just kind of a little fellowship place. And, you know, if you don't want to go back to work, you can sit there for even longer.
No, I've never noticed anyone hurrying us out the door. That's never happened. By the way, if you're just joining us, Jen Bowman's here, Rock River Valley Blood Center. They could certainly use your help. Roll up your sleeve if you possibly can. If you don't know, make contact with them so you guys can work this out and find out if you can help them out. One of the things we were talking about off the air is, and I'm sure that there's people who are listening right now who go, well, I used to go all the time, and now when I go, they tell me I can't because my hemoglobin is this. I've got this. The FDA changed around a lot of your requirements. Isn't that basically the case?
Yeah, they made them more stringent, especially for male donors. And I mean, they're acting, you know, they're trying to be cautious. So we understand that. But we did lose a significant amount of donors in the last year. We lost a large group of female platelet donors, and then men that were on the edge, whether low or high, with blood pressure, pulse, and hemoglobin. Those got more stringent, and then they're deferred. And really, those things probably won't change. So, but we also have that aging thing. People are smart around here. Once they can retire, they take off to Florida and Arizona in the winter. You know, we lose a lot of donors around here, or they retire somewhere permanently. And it's the next generation replacing those donors that we really need to kind of get a grasp on. And our high school program is awesome.
Yes, it is.
It collects, you know, sometimes up to 20% of our blood in the community at our high schools.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Certain
That's
times
really
of the
impressive.
year, like October, I mean, we're at every single high school in 7 counties. And the high school kids are awesome. Stats tell us if they start in high school, they're more likely to be a lifelong donor.
Yep.
I still remember having gone to Guilford blood drive day. It was always a big deal because mostly only like seniors could do it. By then, we'd already chosen our college, so it was kind of like dee-dee-dee. But it's a fun time.
Sure.
But then
It's a lot more fun, too, when you know you're helping so many people,
exactly.
too.
But then we lose those kids after they graduate high school. So we need to keep them in the fold. We need parents and grandparents to talk to kids. And I think everyone just thinks science has gotten to a point where, oh, they'll figure something out.
Oh,
But
yeah, they just whip up some artificial blood in the lab. That'll be no problem at all.
We've tried. We're continue to try. But even those artificial products are derived from human red blood cells.
Right.
They're never going to be something that we can just...
We synthesize this from thin air.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
you're gonna need something to get that thing started.
No, and I mean, we would love a manufacturable something at least to add to the supply, especially when we talk about like soldiers out in the middle of the Middle East needing to get triage and things like that. And that's where those products would go to immediately.
Sure.
But there is no replacement for human blood. It can only come from you and I. And the reality is you're going to need it probably, 1 in 3 of us. And we all think, no, that's not me.
No, you're not being realistic in thinking that.
No, and it doesn't have to be a weird blood cancer. Childbirth, a hip replacement,
Anything.
surgery gone wrong.
Right.
We recently had a patient that was using 20 plasma products, AB plasma products a day, doing what's called a plasma exchange, where they're actually taking your plasma out because it's got some sort of disease, and they're putting new plasma in with some medication in it. But 20 units of AB plasma a day is a lot when you consider that less than 4% of the entire population has type AB blood.
Oh, man.
So then you've got that 5% of people only do it, but of those, only 4% have AB. We had no
We're getting
AB.
thin here.
We had none, but those plasma exchanges, when they come, they come unexpectedly sometimes, and then they're kind of a long process. So things are not stopping around here. People are still having babies. People are still treating anemias. We have a lot of high-level cancer treatments going on in the area. Oftentimes, you need platelets and red cells to help the body sustain chemotherapy. It's not the most glamorous thing, but in order to make a lot of these medical technologies occur, the blood has to be there. And it has to be there ready. The last time my dad needed a transfusion in the spring, he was in the operating room having colon surgery. Now, they didn't know ahead of time, but because he had leukemia 15 years ago, his blood's a little thin. They just had to call for it, and it needed to be there, or,
right.
Those platelets were going to stop him from bleeding out. So it was pretty important. He was already opened on the table.
Yeah, we're talking, it's getting a little dicey at this particular point.
And, me doing what I do, I know a lot about blood. I didn't even think, well, Dad'll need blood during this colon surgery. And then I was like, God, I'm glad you did this in March, Dad, because, we were okay in March. And
summertime, too. You think about summertime.
Summertime is the worst,
demand.
Yes.
Yeah, more people outside,
There's
more people doing things.
There's only one time worse than now, and that's summer.
Yeah, and we talked about it. It's because summer you're out, you're active, more people getting hurt, just basically not being in the house.
And we don't have any of those high school kids doing blood drives.
Right.
We're all trying to have fun after work. We're not going to do our civic duty.
No.
We're going to the golf course. We're going to the bar. We're going to the kids' soccer game.
Unfortunately, you can't offer happy hour at your place while that's
wish.
going on, because it's 2 for $1s. We got free wings. You do something like that.
We've asked if we could put like a beer garden outside of our 6th Street location, but the CEO doesn't see that as the best use of our fund.
No, it doesn't. It would be interesting marketing, but maybe not. Maybe not the best
beautiful
way.
6th Street and watch the traffic go.
Yeah, with a bandage on your arm. Yeah, this has been great. Now, for people who hearing this, think, all right, I need to get off my butt and I want to help. What is the best way? Walk right in, call ahead, go online. What do you recommend is the smoothest procedure from people at home right now to get into to roll up a sleeve?
If you're real tight on time, give us a call. 815-965-8751. Or if you're anything like me, just Google the Blood Center and hit call.
Right.
We can tell you when we have pockets. We have pockets during the day when there's no one there. Frankly, there's not a lot of people there now. However, since we started making these pretty public pleas, yesterday was a much better day than the day before. We also have up to 3 blood drives a day, and that's all over the 7-county area. So, for instance, today we're going to be up in Beloit at Luther Valley Lutheran Church. Tomorrow we'll be at the Oregon Park District. Today we're also down in Rochelle at Tyson Foods. And on Saturday we're going to be at the Garden Hotel in South Beloit, which is like a tribute drive for a young man that received blood years ago. So we're all over the place.
Yes.
If you see the bus and they're obnoxious, they're pink and green.
Oh, yeah, you can see them. You can't miss them.
Usually if you can see the bus, you can go get on it. That's not necessarily true if it's sitting in front of Guilford High School. Usually the high school drives are closed to the public for, security reasons. But if it's sitting in the Walmart parking lot, you're more than welcome. And typically a lot of those drives are for the employees and regular customers per se, but they're really community drives where people can walk in.
I spotted you. I'm pulling in. I'm not here to shop. I'm here to help you.
Yeah. If you're techie and like to play on the internet, you can go on our website and you can actually schedule yourself at whatever location at whatever time.
Nice.
And then it'll send you a text message to remind you to be there. But you can also just call us and say, this is where I am and this is where I'm going to be later. Are you anywhere around me? We've got 2 locations in Rockford, 1 in Freeport, 1 in Belvedere. We're open on Saturdays. We stay open until 7 o'clock at our Perryville location. So you should be able to find somewhere to go. And this need is not going to go away. Blood only lasts 42 days. We've been struggling since Thanksgiving. So this is just going to keep going for a while. And I anticipate at some point, unless we get real lucky, that we're going to get hit with some snowfall.
Yeah.
Snow days hurt us. Inevitably, we'll have a big high school blood drive and school will be canceled. And we'll lose, 150 units. Because the big high schools, Auburn and Guilford, Belvedere, they collect, 150, 200 units at a blood drive. It's amazing.
Kudos
those kids
to them.
are awesome.
Kudos to those awesome kids who roll
and
up
the
that
teachers
sleeve
and
do that.
administrators
everybody else
who
who's
let us
involved
come in and disrupt the whole day. But I think the value is there. And I have friends today who graduated with me that still donate. And they say, the first time I ever donated was back at Guilford. And it's good to know.
A lot of us think about the bad habits we picked up when we were in high school. It's nice to think about the good ones that you picked up. And that's a great one. That's a great one right there. All right, number to call again.
815-965-8751.
Or rrvbc.org.
Yes.
That's the spot. Jen, good to see you as always.
Thanks for having me.